Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Daniel James, and today I want to share with you my top 5 tips to help you at the start of your self-improvement journey. I've been through a journey myself over the last 10 years, and I now help and coach people through their own journey to some amazing results. So I feel like I'm in a place to give you some tips, tricks that I wish I'd known sooner. So the first one is you have to start by being honest with yourself. When you're starting out on this journey, you need to have a real hard look in the mirror and honestly assess where your life is at right now. Now, this can be hard, but we need to know. We need to know where we're at. We need to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because to move forward, we need to know where we're at. And a lot of the time, we can convince ourselves that we're okay. We think we're self aware. We think we understand our patterns, but we really don't. So have an honest conversation with yourself. How self aware do you think you are? What are the amazing things in my life? What are the bad things in my life? And what are the things that, quite frankly, I'm really ashamed and embarrassed of and trying to think about? Because that stuff right there, that's the stuff that we need to unpick. That's the stuff we need to address. We can keep all the good, but we need to just know where we're at. And this can become very, very uncomfortable because we change for one of two reasons. The first one is to move away from negative things. So that negativity forces, we get so sick and tired of that we force ourselves to change. And the second reason why we change is to move towards something bright and compelling. So by starting out and assessing where are we at, we can get very, very frustrated with the life that we've created. We can identify that and we can leverage that. We can leverage that negativity that we've created and say, hell no. Like, I don't want this for my life. I'm so fed up. I'm so sick and tired of going from relationship to relationship, from job to job. I'm fed up of having this awful relationship with myself. I know I can do better. You leverage that, and it'll help you move away from it. And then secondly, from there, once we've had an honest assessment of where we're at, we can then create a compelling future, something that we want to move towards. So the first tip, have a real honest conversation. Evaluate yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Number 2, embrace the discomfort of change. If you've been a certain way for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, understand that going on this journey is going to take time. You didn't get to where you're at right now overnight, and you're not going to change it overnight. Don't create unrealistic expectations for yourself because you're going to set yourself up for failure. Understand this is a day-by-day process. And every single day, all you're trying to do is just show up as a better version of yourself. And you're going to make mistakes. We're going to talk about that in a second in a future point. But all you're trying to do each day is just embrace that discomfort. Because understand, as you're stepping out of that comfort zone, it's going to be hard. It's going to feel really, really uncomfortable. And when you feel that discomfort the most, that's the time to keep pushing forward. Whereas a lot of people, when they get that discomfort, they go back into themselves, back to that comfort zone that's kept them prisoner for so many years. To break free is hard. Change is hard. And this is why most people fail. And this is why I got you to start by having an honest conversation with where you're at. Because then you will want to change. You will understand you have to change, because if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you stay the same, then everything else in your life will stay the same. You have to change. You then have to embrace that discomfort. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this video, please smash that thumbs up button. It helps with YouTube algorithm to get the video out there to help more people that may need to hear this message. If you don't want to miss any future episodes, hit that subscription button. And now back to the episode. Number 3, start to journal. On the Ascend coaching program, every single person, when they start out module 1, video 1, they have to start journaling. Now, I'm not expecting them to write War and Peace. I'm not expecting them to write 4 hours worth of journaling every single day. No. Just 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening can have profound impacts on your life. Because no one knows you better than you know yourself. I'm not here to tell you how to be a better version of you. I'm here to help you figure out how to be a better version of you. And by starting to journal and starting in the morning by saying, today I'm feeling, you start to check in with yourself. Where's my head at? How am I actually feeling? If you can't identify in words how you're feeling, maybe use shapes and colors. But what you're doing is you're starting to learn about your patterns, your habits, your behaviors. And then set an intention. Today I intend to X. And then at the end of the day, come back and reflect. Ask yourself, how was I feeling throughout the day? Because this is when you start to notice the patterns. You'll start to notice the things that led you down a negative thought pattern. You'll start to notice the moment where you started to feel different and your emotions start to change. And then once you start to notice these things, you can then do something about it. Or let's talk about it from a positive point of view. You start to notice when something amazing happened and it made you feel great. Maybe it's an interaction with someone, maybe a conversation. You can add a bit of gratitude in there. But you know you better than anybody else. And through journaling, you start to evaluate yourself. You start to rebuild that relationship with yourself. You start to notice what's going on underneath the surface, these subconscious programs and habits that have been running your life for years. Because once you gain awareness of them, you can then do something about it. It's almost like active reflection at the end of the day as well. You're actively reflecting on the positive and the negatives. Number 4, understand that failing is part of the journey. People hate failing, yet failing is the best teacher. Once you start to get a certain way through this journey, you are going to think you have everything sorted. You're going to think that you've got everything nailed down. And what we can do is we can avoid the thing that caused us this discomfort, the things that triggered us. And we think, yeah, I've got it sorted. But we don't. We're just avoiding the thing that causes us these issues. And it's only when we actually put ourselves in those situations again do we realize how far we've actually come on our journey. But the first couple of times you go back there, you're probably going to fail. You're going to go back to old habits, patterns, behaviors, and that's okay. This is when the journaling then comes into its own, because that's then when you reflect at the end of the day. Well, why did I go back into that negative thought pattern? Why did I respond that certain way? I'm not proud of myself, but why did I do that? That failure, when you reflect and learn from it, becomes a lesson. There's lessons in every failure, and it only actually ever becomes a failure if you stop and don't learn from it. So understand it's part of the journey. Those things give you the greatest lessons. So lean into it, embrace it. My final tip here, before you start to fill your cup up, you have to notice and identify the things that are draining your cup, the mood hoovers and the energy vampires, the people, situations, and things that are just draining and dissipating your energy. You have to remove the negativity, because otherwise, when you're trying to fill your cup up, it's just like pouring water into a sieve. And we wonder, why isn't this working? Why am I still drained? It's because you haven't identified and removed the things that have drained your energy in the first place. Now, this can be a hard step. I understand that. But you have to identify and notice, that person, that situation, that thing really drains me. Because once you notice it, you can then do something about it. You can maybe set some boundaries. You can then maybe communicate, because the problem is with boundaries. People don't respect my boundaries. But if you've never set a boundary, if you've never set the boundary in the first place, if you've never actually communicated that boundary in the first place, that's not their fault. That's your fault, because you never actually communicated there was a boundary there to be stepped over in the first place. So just understand, if you're trying to rejuvenate and work and do this work on yourself, you can't just pour water into that sieve. You have to fill up the cracks. It can be hard. But look back at the other tips I just mentioned. Journal, reflect, embrace that discomfort as you're stepping out of that comfort zone, and understand that when you fail, it's fine. It's part of the journey. I hope you've taken some value from today's episode. If you have, don't forget to like and share with a friend. Until next time, take it easy.